Welcome to the Tales from the Leather Chair mini podcast, Episode 2, Foundational BI Issues.
Hi, this is Ken Tucker of Conrad Ealing Solutions. Today we're going to talk about BI. BI stands for Business Intelligence, and it comprises pretty much anything to do with analysis of data. This includes reporting, analytics, dashboards. The hot topic these days, big data, is actually a subset of BI, and it's really BI on steroids. It includes taking very large data sets of both public and private data and analyzing it. So there's lots of very good BI tools out there. There's all kinds of amazing things you can do with data, all kinds of fancy graphs you can create. The systems are very sophisticated. But what we're going to talk about today are foundational issues, and by what I mean by that is we're going to talk about the underlying principles and structures that you need to put in place to build a solid foundation for any BI tool or any BI solution. And you know, whether you're a consumer of data or you're actively creating and building BI solutions, you need to be aware of these. The three are data quality, data validation, and statistical rigor. I'll start with data quality. Everybody has to be aware of how a BI solution is created. And the real key to it is all of these source data systems that feed into the solution. Most BI systems are really a cube, is what they call it, which is really a multi-dimensional database that can be sliced and diced in many different ways by a BI tool. And what feeds into the cube is all of these source systems, and they might be operational systems, they might be spreadsheets, they might be legacy systems, might be some system that somebody built in COBOL back in the 60s, might be a departmental system where, you know, but all of this data has to flow into the cube.
This is a simple graphic showing the data flow in a BI system. An enterprise BI system may have 30 or 40 different sources drawn from these different categories of data.
And you need to get all of the data normalized, and what I mean by that is that everything is similar. So an example would be revenue. You know, you might have one system that reports revenue in millions. So, you know, you have 10.1 representing 10.1 million. You have another system that represents revenue in thousands. So 10.1 in that system means 10,100. So obviously you have to do a transformation in there to make sure that everything is standardized so that the data can flow in. So if you have lots of systems, you can imagine that this is a very complex process. It requires often a lot of manual effort to identify all of these issues. Now there are some tools out there now. You know, the system that does all of this normalization when it's completed is usually called an ETL, which stands for extraction, transform, and load. And it's very self-explanatory. That's what it's doing, is taking all this data and getting into a proper shape before it goes into the cube. So data quality is something to very much be aware of and make sure that you address it. As I said, there are some automated tools out there that can help you with it. But it's imperative for your solution to be successful that you get obviously high quality data into the system. Data validation is a little different but related. What that really means is that a lot of systems, for two primary reasons. One, they're really old legacy systems, or they're departmental systems. You know, it's a system that somebody wrote for a small group of people originally, but other people saw value in it and said, you know, can we go on the system? Can we get access to that data? It grows and grows and grows, and what was supposed to be a departmental system becomes an enterprise system. But the departmental system doesn't have a lot of the checks and balances and validation that an enterprise system will really typically have. So a simple example is province state. A proper system will have a drop-down menu. You just choose Ontario. Ontario goes in there. A system that is not really completely up to best practices might just have an open field. So people put in ON, they put in ONT, they put in Ontario. As you can imagine, this can lead to all kinds of headaches and trouble in trying to get all the data into the proper format. Dates are also always a big issue. There's some people do month, day, year. Some people do year, day, month. And in some cases, a system might not have any template at all. So people just put in all kinds of different structures. So all of these things need to be addressed and straightened out. And a lot of times it involves going back to the original source system and making these changes to enable the system to be accurate and to have all the data be able to flow properly into the new BI solution. So so data quality and data validation are both really instrumental in making sure you have a good system. And these, as I said, these issues have been around since the dawn of BI. I've been selling BI for 20 years, and they come up constantly, and it's just something, experienced BI people know this, but it's still something that everybody needs to be aware of as far as making sure that you have a system you can rely on. I mean, if the underlying data is inaccurate or a mess, then you're not going to be able to, the fancy graphics aren't going to matter, because you're going to be getting wrong information, and you're not going to be able to make good decisions off of that data. Final thing is a bit of a pet peeve of mine, and that's statistical rigor. One thing, particularly with business data, that you see a lot is that all the numbers are reported as absolutes. We say 47% of our customers like this or that, 53% like this. We say our average age of customer is 31.4 years, and but a lot of times there's not a lot of just basic stats 101 applied to these numbers. So what I mean by that is asking simple questions. Do we have a large enough sample? Is this a statistically significant sample? Do we have a random sample? Does this represent the populace that we're trying to study here accurately? And third things like, what's the difference between correlation and causation? So is this just, when we look at these two variables that have a relationship, are they just correlating, or is one variable causing or having a direct impact on the other variable? And I think possibly the most important thing when it comes to statistical rigor is kind of understanding the level of confidence you have in numbers. Most business data is reported as an absolute, and that's fine with the financial statement, but when you get into a lot of the more sophisticated analysis we're doing, you want to understand what's going on here exactly. When you say that the answer, or what you've come up with is 50 is the number is 57%, what's the range there? How confident are you? Is that a very solid number, or is that number which has a lot of variability in it? So good executives, they're going to ask those kinds of questions in the meetings. They're going to say, they're going to ask, how confident are you in these results? And it can make a huge difference. You might come up with a result and your level of confidence is plus or minus 1%. And you might have another number where it's plus or minus 10%, and that's huge. If you're trying to base decisions on this data, and you've got this wide range of confidence, then you need to take that into account and understand that there's a risk that that this data is not going to be predictive. So those are three foundational BI issues that everyone should be aware of and look to address in any BI solution, and ask a lot of questions about them, and make sure that you have that solid foundation, so that your wonderful BI solution and tool that you've invested in is going to reap the maximum benefit for your organization. So thanks for listening, and have a great day.
Any questions? Call us at 647-551-9125 or email ken.tucker@connaughtewing.com. Thanks for watching.